Hello, my brothers and sisters in Christ. Vicky here, coming to you from southeast central Kansas with a breaking news development. It is 1:30 a.m. Saturday, which would be 0830 military time, Israel, at 1 a.m. Central Standard Time, my time, which would have been 0800 a.m. Israel time. Is confusing reports coming out. However, uh, Israel and it looks like the United States also, but Israel for sure has come out and said that they have started a preemptive strike against Iran, and it's daylight. Not to mention, it's supposed to be their Shabbat. Um, yeah, that's interesting, right? Um, so we're just going to start war. Um, Now I know in Jeremiah chapter 49, I believe it's starting with verse 35, speaking about breaking the stronghold, the bow of Elam. Okay, that would be, the military, and the arrows would be obviously um, the rockets. Um, but there's huge plumes of black billowing smoke, uh, and I believe these are pinpointed strikes for now, but uh, I didn't get any notifications on my alert system, but and I believe they said an hour before, so it would have been 0700. Uh, Israel let all of Israel know, those who live there, um, to go ahead and go to bunkers. Um, so they were in their bunkers before the strikes happened. There has been, at this moment, no retaliatory strikes from Iran. However, let's see now. How's this gonna work, right? Because I just saw a video of an imam in the state of Michigan talking about, you know, basically it's open season for all Christians, and that we uh, serve a false god and just a bunch of lies, okay? And yeah, so, I don't know how many. We have millions here in this land. So I would say, keep your head on a swivel. If you live in a large city, um, I'd pretty much, I wouldn't be just going anywhere and doing life as regular because um, there's a high possibility that we're going to end up having attacks here in this land as well. Okay? The powers that be, they know what they're doing. You know, the powers and principalities of darkness in the high places. Yeah, yeah. But I wanted to get on here. I'm quite certain that the multitudes are probably asleep. I am not. I am a watchwoman, and I usually go to bed about this time every night. I pray and I, just try to keep my mind from being completely, you know, confused about what's going on. But like I said, preemptive strikes. So it started. It started. And just being on dead Twitter, yeah, I went over there to check, um, and there's already multitudes of people against Israel. I mean, multitudes. There's, but that's where we are. And I would not put it past Mamdani up in New York City, that new mayor, uh, to have something up his sleeve, for this weekend. Um, if you need any kind of, because basically the world's asleep anyway. They haven't been listening to our warnings or about anything. But if you have some things that you need to get, um, food wise or whatever, I would go ahead and I personally will get out later on and just get some stuff. I haven't been to the grocery store as far as a major shopping event, which I won't even, well, I can do some. My husband is stuck in Independence. They have a boxing event taking place. It's been going on. Saturday will be the finals. Um, but there could even be something going on there, for crying out loud. It's just over the top, but we're going to keep strong in our faith. But if you need to pick up some things, because I really don't believe it, I mean, it started. It's not going to stop because the sides have been taken, and um, just as we knew, this board of peace nonsense, this wasn't going to work, and it's not working. Um, I found out, I believe it was yesterday, after, I'd already spoken with y'all a couple days ago or so, whenever that was, because it's now the 28th of February. Um, I think it was when was it? The 25th, I think. I did a video. So if you haven't seen that video, because I haven't gotten very many, I don't know. I'm probably being silenced, whatever. But at least I'm trying. Um, but anyway, uh, found out that Pakistan has declared war on Afghanistan. This has been going on for several days. They're fighting against the Taliban in Afghanistan. Now, who could have foreseen that happen after JoJo thought it would be a great idea to pull all our military out of Afghanistan, right? So now we got that going on. Uh, and I guarantee you, sides are made. And the Arab world, the Arab League, they'll end up having emergency meetings, and there'll be international law emergency meetings, and there'll be UN and EU. You know the numbers, how they always are going to come out, blame Israel. Now, this is an Israel deal. Now Israel's been talking about how, because I've noticed this the past couple of weeks pretty hard and steady about how this was the United States war with Iran. And I'm thinking to myself, no, because not. It's not our war. Um, but I guess the Father's going to use it. But I can see some massive things happening. We have, you know, um, our ships over there. I believe we have 3 over there now, striker group ships. I know we've got kamikaze drones now over there. We've got all that's needed, uh, everything. Okay, and that buildup's been going on for weeks. And I saw a picture of Ben Gurion Airport, and there were F-35s and all the other ones just lined up. They shut the airport down earlier today, and it was right after the call went out, for everyone in America, uh, Canada, all of the countries that knew that they had people in Israel or people, in Iran, um, that they needed to evacuate immediately. There were also calls, and I had put this pinned note under my last video that um, America was pulling our forces out of Erbil, Iraq, which is right there at the border with Syria. And I caught on the news uh, some of our, people that we have. Um, I had caught that uh, Netanyahu had talked about the problem there with Iraq. So, I mean, this is already going to be a much larger thing than what we believe. I mean, we know World War III is fixing to start. Russia's been, and China, and Turkey, and then when Mike Huckabee, had the interview with Carlson, and he was like, yeah, it'd be okay if Israel took all the land, in the Levant from, the Nile River to the Euphrates. That just caused a firestorm. Well, I mean, everything was getting all ippy, and everything was getting shook up real quick. But like I said, we are seeing prophecy happen, and we didn't know if it was going to be preemptive. But I had read an article last night, which I never read out of there. It just happened to be that was where the article was. It because they do too many things that are anonymous, right? Anonymous sources. So, but Politico, it's kind of like The Economist. You just don't, you take it with a grain of salt. But within that article, it was talking about how the United States, per their anonymous sources, would like it much better if Israel did a preemptive strike. Well, knowing that it is the religious, ultra Orthodox, Jewish people, it's their Shabbat, and they do not work, and they do not, so Iran and nobody else, for that matter, would have been expecting a preemptive strike, okay? But like I said, it's happening. It's happening right now. So I just wanted to get on here, give you a heads up. Like I said, if you need to get anything, food wise or whatever, I would go ahead and get it, as soon as you can tomorrow. And I'm gonna do the same thing. I don't know how I'm gonna do it because, like I said, I'm on my own right now. Um, my husband won't be home till tomorrow night, um, but I can get stuff. They'll put it in the car for me. Um, yeah, as far as canned goods, stuff like that. Um, but I'll just have to be easy on other things because I'm just too wobbly to be doing all that by myself. Um, but y'all take care of yourself. I love you, and who knows? Maybe tonight will be our evacuation. I heard a man earlier today, because it was already Shabbat when they decided to tell everybody, because there's a lot of tourists in Israel, you know, and they had already shut down the airport, and the United States had already lined up all of our fighter jets there, and people there were fleeing to Egypt. You just can't make this stuff up. Like, and they're supposedly catching a flight because, the airport was closed, you know, in Israel. So they're all either in their bunkers awaiting Iran, maybe Russia. We're talking about Ezekiel 38 as well. Is this when the Lord, you know, puts the hooks in the jaw and brings them down? I mean, because we know they're already all mixed together. Erdogan had some private meetings. I forgot to tell y'all about this last week with Ethiopia. Well, that's one of the Ezekiel 38 players. It's Russia, Iran, Turkey, Ethiopia / Sudan, and Libya. Okay? So, and then Netanyahu's built this hexagon of 8, with India and Somaliland. I think it's Armenia. I don't know all of them, that aren't involved in the Board of Peace thing, as like a backup. Uh, so there's no telling what's about to take place other than war. We're here. So I love you guys. Stay prayed up. We're going home. Maranatha.